The University of Maryland has a bum problem. Just a couple days ago, the bums had a party on the campus. Cops came, 2 a.m. On the way over, the cops, somebody saw the cops and they said, "Hey, cops, at the bum party, it's right over there. There's a bunch of people fighting. One of them has a baseball bat, menacing people." The cop said, "At the bum party?" "Yeah, the bum party." So they went over there. The fighting had stopped when they got there, I think. But they looked around, they said, "Listen, it's 2 a.m., bums. Music is loud. It's time to shut the music down, bums. This party's over." The bums at the University of Maryland did not want to end the party. So they started hassling the cops, threatening them. All of a sudden, people were rolling around on the ground. All of a sudden, cops were spraying them in the face with mace. The bums were very, very unhappy. And they said they were going to tell their story all over the world and embarrass the university, embarrass the cops, and they were going to get some justice, damn it.
Hey, Colin.
Oh, hold on a second. Hey, I told you I'm out here doing one of my YouTube things. I told you not to disturb me.
Oh, Colin, I think this is important.
It better be. I don't feel like editing this out.
Colin, I don't think people listening know what the bums are.
Of course they do. Everybody knows what the bums are. Just read the Twitter stream from the bums at the University of Maryland. I mean, they sound, the way they sound, it sounds like everybody knows who they are. Everybody should pay attention to them. They're a special class of people, very high class of people that never should, cops should never mess with. They're bums.
Oh, Colin, I think you're taking this too far now. You better make sure that people know what you're talking about, what the bums are.
Everybody knows what the bums are. The bums are how the black people at the University of Maryland describe themselves. They call themselves Black University of Maryland, BUM. Just like they have black Twitter, just like they have black colleges, just like they have black churches, black funeral homes, black baseball leagues, black studies, black professors, all that stuff. I mean, everybody knows a bum is a black student at the University of Maryland. So please don't interrupt me again.
Oh, I'm sorry, Colin. My bad.
All right, let's get to the local DC newscast of the bum party. Then we're going to look at the bum entitlements in Twitter and see how appealing that is.
New tonight, cell phone video shows this graduation party being broken up by the University of Maryland police. Now, the group of new grads have a lot of questions about why police showed up and used pepper spray.
Yeah, yesterday was graduation. The students say parties were happening all over campus, and they question if race was a factor in shutting their celebration down. Fox 5's Alexander Lamone has a story.
That's my immediate thought. Like, let me not be another person that's shot by the police for no reason.
We interrupt this news story for a special truth bulletin from the University of Maryland, their crime records. Looking at the records, it becomes clear that crime at the University of Maryland College Park is a black thing. It's a black on white thing. There's not one single occasion in these records of a white person attacking a black person. We now return you to the regularly scheduled portion of this YouTube broadcast.
What should have been a happy celebratory gathering for graduation turned tense and then chaotic after University of Maryland police officers showed up for a noise complaint.
They were being very forceful, using their arms to throw people, and then at that point they started to mace everybody. And to me, it seemed as if it was a lot excessive.
This cell phone video shows a group of people in the hallway as officers try to get them to clear the area. Naya Frazier just graduated from UMD College Park, and she was at the party. She says students were trying to comply with the officer's command.
I see my friends retreating. I see them pulling each other away from the situation. I see them actively moving away from the officers, which is what they were asked to do. And it's after that point that they begin screaming and they get pepper sprayed. So that's where, you know, my failure to comprehend comes in.
In the cell phone video, you can hear the yelling and coughing.
Just trying to flee from the crowd when I hear my friends screaming. And I rush back to see them, you know, not far from where we're standing, on the ground, clutching their eyes in pain, incapacitated, unable to see, unable to walk.
This would not have happened if this was a white party. It makes me sick to say that.
Students and graduates that we spoke to tell us they don't understand why police were called in the first place, why those officers called for backup, or why this all ended with some of those students getting pepper sprayed.
There's no chance for us to celebrate. Like, that was ruined yesterday.
Dr. Glenn Singleton, the author of Courageous Conversations, the gold standard textbook for teaching white teachers how to teach black students, he says one of the things white teachers don't know about black people is that black people talk about race every day, many times a day, but white people, he says, are, quote, not conditioned to do that. And so this day at the University of Maryland, graduation day, began like many other days on this campus. The black students were talking about black things, what's going to happen with the black students during the black graduation. It was very, very race conscious. Even prior to the big riot, we had reminders that the students, a reminder to students that you're black people first, students second. There's a little romantic interaction. There was even some advice given out. Question: what do you bring to a black party if you don't know what the other side dishes are going to be? Well, that's simple. Mac and cheese. And of course, the racial grievance on the fairy tale of pay gaps that everybody likes to bitch about. And then the party began and all the BS started.
They just pepper sprayed everybody, ran into a house, all against the law.
You hear me, white?
Yo, bro, we can't do nothing, bro.
Cops are macing niggas. Stop police brutality.
Then the racial grievances and the threats, and most importantly, the media planning began in earnest. All topped off with a nice sprinkling of white people do it too. tweets go on forever. Picked up a lot of steam from other black students, black colleges around the country. Everyone saying the same thing. Cops are crooked. They were picking on these black people for no reason whatsoever. And man, what's all this white racism about? Because everybody knows it's everywhere all the time. That explains everything. I mean, you really have to wonder, what were these kids learning at the University of Maryland for the last 4 years? Did they learn anything other than how to concoct a fairly quick, fairly polished, fairly made up racial grievance? Is this what we're training kids to do at the University of Maryland and in colleges around the country? Yes. Do you suppose they got some inspiration from anybody else off the campus?
And my husband and I know how frustrating that experience can be. We've both felt the sting of those daily slights throughout our entire lives. The folks who crossed the street in fear of their safety, the clerks who kept a close eye on us in all those department stores, the people at formal events who assumed we were the help, and those who have questioned our intelligence, our honesty, even our love of this country. And I know that these little indignities are obviously nothing compared to what folks across the country are dealing with every single day. Those nagging worries that you're going to get stopped or pulled over for absolutely no reason. The fear that your job application will be overlooked because of the way your name sounds. The agony of sending your kids to schools that may no longer be separate, but are far from equal. The realization that no matter how far you rise in life, how hard you work to be a good person, a good parent, a good citizen, for some folks, it will never be enough. And all of that is going to be a heavy burden to carry. It can feel isolating. It can make you feel like your life somehow doesn't matter. That you're like the invisible man that Tuskegee grad Ralph Ellison wrote about all those years ago. And as we've seen over the past few years, those feelings are real. They're rooted in decades of structural challenges that have made too many folks feel frustrated and invisible. And those feelings are playing out in communities like Baltimore and Ferguson and so many others across this country.
I wonder what all the graduating bums said when they were writing their essays to get into the University of Maryland. Did they tell them their life was one long story of grievance and hardship? Did they tell them when they got to the University of Maryland they were going to start blaming all their hardships on the University of Maryland? Did they tell them they were going to refine their grievance, turn it from crude, emotional response into a highly educated, highly polished routine? And you also have to wonder, when their parents put them on the bus to go to school that very first day of college, you have to wonder what kind of advice the parents whispered in their ears. Here's what I would advise the parents to tell their upcoming bums. Whenever you're taking a test in any of your social studies courses, or if a lot of people are studying black studies and the like, whenever you take one of those courses, just remember one thing, and you don't even have to open the books. Just remember that black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything, especially why cops are always picking on black people, especially at graduation parties when they're not doing nothing. Whisper that in their ears. They'll do fine. And if you want to put something in their book bag as like a parting gift, may I suggest that scintillating bestseller, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry?